Ah, the French. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Twitch chat. Welcome back to Let Us Play. I'm your host, Father Evan. It's good to be back with y'all. I hope y'all had a wonderful and Merry Christmas and a happy New Year to everyone. New Year's Eve. Huzzah. We survived another. Yeah, I hope you're having a good day on this 7th day of Christmas. Congratulations to Brayhurt. You've won the crown of Furstendom, the last one of this year. You may treasure it forever in that special way. It's also good to see a KMax, good to see a Quacksplat, and KMax, thank you for the 23-month resub. That is almost 2 years, and that is wild. 2 years of Maha the French. Where's that button?
Maha the French.
It's good to be back with y'all. Before we get started, I got gifted some weird candy. Parishioner gave this to me for Christmas, and I don't know if he knows about the stream and the candy bit. I don't remember if I told him. But this is Tough Gummy Pro. It's number 1. I don't know what it's number 1 of, but it's number 1. As far as I can tell, this is a caffeinated gummy. I have no idea. No more amateur gummies. Yeah, we're moving up into the pro leagues. It's lemon ginger flavored, so I don't think this will go on the wheel because of its weird flavor, but it's certainly multitasking as you organize the basement. Hey, it's all good. Maybe that will go on the wheel. Also good to see a step zero. That's a distressing lemon smell. Eat one? I'm going to. Hey, Kevin. Pickle candy. 2-word bad. Well, you know. I like the idea. Lemon ginger like that sounds really good. Oh. Okay, that flavor is actually really nice. Ooh, it's got like a nice little sour candiness to it, like some citric acid, and just like a really nice ginger without much burn. But I get why it's called a pro gummy. This thing is thick. Like, I have not bitten all the way through it yet. Hey, Caesar, good to see you. Happy New Year's Eve to you as well. Yeah, probably not for the wheel, but, picked up Mega Sours and disappointed? Huh. I like the Mega Sours. I think they're quite sour. Pick up my Christmas present from this Christmas Square at Pippington. I don't know if I have Pippington unlocked, so we'll figure that out. But anyway, let's go ahead. Let's dive on into some Minecraft. You found... I found toxic waste to be less sour. It's global. Okay, well, we'll go visit. Anyway, last time I tried to build a house. That didn't go well. Because the server was freaking out, but that's because it was updating things. So I built this house off stream. My nice little lofted bungalow. I like my little loft up here. Storage area, a little kitchen. A great view. And then I've got up here, I set up my apricorn farm. So this is to make Pokeballs. Because reminder, this is a Pokemon-themed mod pack. Yeah, you can see the house here. And then, oh, not you. Hal was kind enough to gift me this Heracross, which I both need for my bug-type team. Look forward to watching the show on Saturday. Hey, let's go. Yes, as you can see in the corner, the medium rotund, you can see the outline of the house there. But... yeah, Hal gifted me this Heracross. I'm trying to do too much at once. Yes, the Medium Rotund Quizlet of Things and Stuff 3 returns this Saturday, January 3rd at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Currently, guests are P. Tony, Yenza, TC, Mel T. Gray, Halcyon Ward, and a 6th contestant that is yet to be determined. Okay, regular tough gummies do not have caffeine as far as you can tell, despite being both cola and energy drink flavored. Well, ingredients: starch syrup, sugar, gelatin, palm oil, sorbitol, acidifier, gelling agent, which is polysaccharide thickener, L-arginine flavoring, caffeine, glazing agent. So apparently that's what makes it pro. Doesn't love Heracross? Ash's Bulbasaur. Uh-oh. Okay, where am I going? I'm going to Pippington. Christmas Square at Pippington. Oh, how cute. Look at... Oh, boy, Bree. Haven't seen this game in forever. What were you on it earlier today? 42 milligrams per serving. I'm glad I only had one. Hey, Britt. Inca. Father Evan. Look at this. A Christmas star. Mysterious Stone says grant Pokemon the power to Dynamax. When in a Dynamax band, I'll leave a bunch of green and red balls. Oh, you're on vacation away from your PC for 2.5 weeks. Ooh. Water breathing. Rice roll. Voice of God. What? What? Oh, it's an instrument. What's a Pokénav? Oh, okay. Bree, how did you survive 2.5 weeks vacation without a computer? Just asking for a friend. Well, thank you for the gifts, Kevin. Well, speaking of instruments, I did get some instruments for Christmas. My mother got me an Irish tin whistle, and she also got me a xylophone. Oh, this is actually really close. My base is, like, right here. We can probably fly back, because we have to wait 5 minutes for the teleporter thing. I can do demolition work. Yeah, but I have to walk around the city 7 times, and that just sounds like a lot of steps. You're with a very special person in your life. Aww. Can I have this from Stella? Oh, okay. It's good to have you here, Britt. Hope you had a good Christmas. Hope everyone had a good Christmas. You had an amazing Christmas. It's pretty dang good. Is that Score Bunny? No, that's the Lopunny. My hair crosses out. Go juice. Gotta glide. Gotta glide. Hey, a little cheesy. Yes, family in Ohio. Road trip to Chicago to see a priest friend. Met up with gigs. Oh, nice. I bet you had snow in Ohio. Bet you didn't have that in Florida. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's Eve to you as well. To those of a Scottish persuasion, Happy Hogmanay today. Oh, was it warm in the Midwest? It was 70 the day I landed in Utah. It was unreal. Yeah, Epiphany is well, America, in American Diocese, we celebrate it this Sunday, but it's technically Tuesday. It's the 6th. I'm afraid at home, so it's just a hog few rather than a hog many. No, Hogmanay. Hogmanay! You gotta welcome a tall, dark, handsome stranger into your house first thing of the new year. Also in Scotland, they celebrate by hurling giant things of fire around their head and chucking it into the ocean. You have an Advent Burkadoo. Hey, it's all good. Okay, so I'm still on course. Why do we still say Alleluia during Advent but not the Gloria? Why is it like Lent? Because generally Lent is a heavier form of penitential practice. It's kind of a tiered thing. The French. Thank you for the alert, Gale, and thank you for the 37-month resub. Oh, it's so nice having a hair crust go meow around with. Lent is sad waiting, Advent is happy waiting. That's a way to put it. Okay, so the main thing I wanted to work on today is actually working on my gym. Takes this cobbled deep slate with me. Yeah, I'm gonna take this cobbled deep slate with me as like a general base, and then we can have cobblestone on top of it. I'll wait to go to bed. It's almost nighttime and I don't feel like starting a build project with zombies around me. There we go. Oh, I can drop off my Christmas presents, I guess. Please don't pay attention to how disorganized everything is. I'll fix it eventually. Christmas was really fun. I got to go home and be with my family. It's the first time I've gotten to do that in a few years, so that was nice. Okay, so here is our base-ish area for our missile silo. So how wide is this? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's 12, 12, and 1, so it's 25 across. So let me pull up my circle calculator. Okay, so it looks like this one goes 7 on the ends, and then 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2. So let's start with our cobbled deep slate. 1, 2, 3. Then 1, 2. 1, 2. 1. 1. One, 2. Okay, looks like we did that correctly. Oh no, math on stream! Math down, math down! And anything that's really right by the missile silo, I will clear away a good portion of it. But for right now, I just kind of want the general base layer. Hey, Green Luck. Yeah, doing a Cobblemon server with some friends. And I am one of the gym leaders. Oh, no. Let's use the one with Unbreaking. I am I am Ice and Bug is my gym type. The mines. Hey, Duke, how you doing? Yes, building the gym so that people can properly challenge me. And the gym will be a missile silo because I'm in character a legally distinct, not from Soviet Russia. I am from the not Usserston, which is spelled not USSR Stan. Okay, so this one's off. That's okay. That's an easy fix. Lieutenant Blitzkrieg. My character's name is Major Oshibkashneg, which means bug snow, because I am the ice and bug type gym. But specifically, Oshibka does not mean like bug animal. It means like computer bug, and I think that's funny. I'm gonna add Greenie like an overgrown abandoned missile silo. I was thinking more like genetic laboratory kind of thing with the bug. I do intend to make icicles because we have all sorts of mods in this pack, so you can make hanging icicles. So like the missile silo, it'll be here, and then we'll have the missile in the middle with like a gantry around it. And then like I'll have ice platforms is what I'm thinking for where like a big ice platform over the missile for where the battle will take place. Who knows? Maybe this is overly ambitious. Hop off to get ready from SA. You take care. Hope you have a great rest of your year. all last 10 hours of it. But no, I do hope you have a great rest of your day, and hope you have a happy new year. Since Lieutenant Surge is a U.S. Army veteran, for becoming a gym leader, does that make him an electric soldier? Ooh, iron. No, just one piece. Just one piece, and it's not the one piece. Gaio, I think I opened a bad can of worms. What if the one piece was really just the friends we made along the way? How is that auto-modded? Maybe, I don't know. Automod is weird. And I've heard that One Piece song. I don't think it's so bad that it's good. I think it's just bad. So I kind of need to figure out... I'm going to leave this block floating here, because this signifies the middle. So I'm thinking... Honestly, with the mod pack, we have so many options that I might be able to find, like, a nice curved piece to make, like, the nose cone. Like, I could also use roof planks, potentially, even, just to, like, help with the shaping. So much furniture. Yeah, see, here's some icicles that you can craft. And I made some Poké statues. You know, like the statues that stand in front of gyms? I made a couple of those to have at the entrance of my gym. Anyway, we'll look for that later. But I was thinking, what if the missile itself was probably like a 3x3 square? It doesn't have to be huge. So I'll denote that with this for now, but then I'll have probably a space around it that's opened. Are there any trainers in this server? Not like random trainers, but there are other people. No one else is online right now. We have a Rota. Well, today we hear the prologue of the Gospel of John, which is the gospel you hear typically at the Christmas Mass of the day. And it's kind of fitting that it happens a week later. It's kind of like a reminder of like, we've been sitting with the image of the Christ child, and that is an incredibly important image. And it is also important to hold in reality with the fact that he is the Word made flesh and what that means, and understanding that. Must away! You take care of Step Zero. So I had to go live earlier than usual today, because I have the 5 p.m. Vigil Mass. And if I did my usual stream until 5 p.m., I would not have been able to make it to the Vigil Mass on time. That is a huge geode. Because that's one of the mods here, is that you can actually randomly get Pokemon of different sizes. So, like, I have a Lechonk that's, like, the size of a quarter. Okay. So, if I want kind of something circular, it's not always the easiest to get circles of this kind of size. If I do... Oh, what's the wrong piece? Which Pokemon types do you think are the most consistently tasty? Any of the birds or fish? Now, one of the tricky things about building this gym is to make the ice blocks, or to get the ice blocks, I should say. I need to make a Silk Touch pickaxe. And I have yet to make a Silk Touch pickaxe. Fortunately, a couple of the other friends on the server do have enchanting areas, so I can just nip over there and use them. But... gonna put down a bunch of torches just to help melt the snow. So I don't have to constantly get startled by my own follow noises. Darth Blaker 6, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Hope you have a good time. Okay, I'm almost out of Cobble Deep Slate, but that's okay. I can go get more later. But this helps give me kind of a sense of the overall floor and scope of the gym. We'll just use up what we have at this point before we start replacing anything. It's a really old Twitch account, you know, from long ago. Well, I'm impressed you remembered the password then. Been in the Discord server for a little while. Ah, okay. Happy to have you on over here as well. Are you also Darth Blaker over on the server, or do you have another name? And you don't have to say it if you don't want to. But I'm trying to. It's one of those things where I'm like, is this a name, or is it just, you know how it is with internet names, where you're like, I think I know this person. Do I know this person? I'm not sure if I know this person. Ah, okay. Well, glad to have you here. Do not need these snowballs. JRPC at the moment. Here I am. Something particular on your mind you wanted to talk about? You know, I think part of my brain is getting confused is that I also know a Darth Saber, and I know a Blake, and so my brain is kind of doing Darth Blaker equals them combined. Oh, internet names. A 1,000 members. That's awesome. That's great. Congrats. Ooh, Trident. Ooh, thank you for the follow. Welcome on in. Trident is your friend. Hey, awesome. Welcome on in, Trident. Hope you're doing well. Oh my
French.
goodness. Trident, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. Gifted subs to Greenluck, Frogmans, Draith, Bree, and Draka bro. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his name. I've met him in person. Thank you so much for your generosity, Trident. Just prevent some snow from piling up. Make free parish websites for parishes. Nice. Why is my... I'm getting the noise, but my Heracross is not... Everyone's just immediately going back into their Pokeball. That sounds like a glitch. No, I think it's awesome that there's people like you trying to go out to make parish websites, because not every parish is gifted to know how or to go about that. Fortunately, where I am, we are fairly tech savvy, especially because I work in a media ministry. So, hey, man, that's a beautiful thing. That's, you know, that is part of the concept of tithing, is giving back with our gifts as well. That yes, tithing is absolutely monetary, but there are ways to love and serve and give back with our gifts. So. Bree doesn't know how to talk to probably someone else. Bree, did not streaming for 2.5 weeks make you for gore? So, yeah, no, that's awesome that you do that with the websites, Trident. The problem is logging on. That can't be right. I already logged on. Parents got scammed by a bad dev, took money, and did no work. Ugh. That's rough. Yeah, we're working with a guy for our website right now, actually, who we really like. And he himself is Catholic, and he's done like a ton of work with other Catholic organizations. Hey, Craig. He's upset. Oof. Yeah, the guy we're working with, we feel very blessed in working with him, because he does good work, but he also kind of gets the ethos. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, you would. Okay, everything's fine. Nicholas thing, apps, AI, sites, social media. Nice. Do you work in tech full time then, I'm guessing? A Catholic OS.
Ah, the French.
Hey, kid, thanks so much for the 37-month free sub. I gotta know, what did you name the Catholic OS? I feel like there's a lot of great puns you could have gone with. Cath OS. Okay. I'm a fan of puns, so... naming it like, I'm trying to think what would be a good saint to name an OS after. Because, like, we could name it Isidore OS, because Isidore was his patron saint of the internet. Sure, does his own stuff and sells that rather than having his formal job. Hey, that's all good. Some people are better suited to a freelance style and system. If you ever joined Blade's Discord, like, is that young? Oh, as in Darth Plague. Sorry, I was thinking like Young Blake's server. I was like, wait, what? Again, my brain and names. Is that a game based on Spanish Reconquista? Ah, okay. Have you guys met, Cordero Catolico? He's a Spanish streamer who does, a lot of dev work. He's made, like, a really cool rosary app. He's working on a game. I haven't seen him lately, though. I hope he's okay. I've not heard of him. Got the Discord app. Oh, what does the app do? Everything. It'll make me paella? Finally! Everything is a rather broad term. Yeah. I'm going to guess it can't make me paella. Too many functions list easily. Yeah, that's fair. Sounds like you should come over to your Discord server and check it out. Okay, so this is where the door's gonna be. We are going to have down to the base layer of the deep slate exposed to show it off. AI function which brings up prayers, catechism passages, and saint writings. Oh, cool. And lots of moderation functions. Also highly useful. what all Discord bots aim towards with special extra Catholic functionality. That's awesome. Okay. I think I should go one higher on this wall. I'll also put a door on this side. Anti-raid bot and anti-DDoS app. Nice. Yeah, it does sound like Giant is quite well gifted. That's awesome to see that you're using it in a way to create community and also take care of parishes. Like, that's awesome. Ow. Manage novenas, send daily reminders, provide Catholic prayers, answer Catholic questions, show Bible passages, daily readings, excerpts, catechism, Catholic Church, excerpts of give us this day, give rosary mysteries, and guide and track liturgical calendar, feast days, holy days, fasting rules, saint quotes, reflections, spiritual challenges, handle role-based subscription announced events, and schedule novenas. That is quite a comprehensive bot. Now here's a real trick. Get it to also utilize and share the Byzantine Catholic calendar. Does it have that? If not, it sounds like it might eventually. And by eventually, I mean probably pretty soon. Now here's the... If you want to get like really kind of liturgically nerdy and technical, you could add several Eastern calendars, because there's the general one that the Byzantine Catholics would use, but there's also... I think the Armenians have a separate... The Armenian Catholic Church has its own calendar. I know the Ethiopian and Eritrean Catholic churches have their own calendars. Okay, so this is looking pretty good for the base. And then what we'll do is we're going to build a dome on top, but it's going to have like a piece open, like it's partially open. A, to let in some sunlight, and B, to also look cool. Ethiopians use Coptic calendars with different names for months. Kind of, but more complicated, yeah. Yeah, there is an Ethiopian Catholic Church in communion with Rome. There's also the Ethiopian Orthodox, which is not. That's part of the Oriental Orthodoxy family of churches. But the most recent one to be added was the Eritrean Catholic Church, which was added in 2017 or something. It was established and separated. Hey, I hope. Yeah, there are, I think 24. It used to be 23, I think. But 24 what's called sui iuris, or by their own governance, Catholic churches. The biggest is the Roman Church, of course, but all right, let's go into the mines for a bit. Let's get some more cobbled deep slate. Ethiopian Orthodox Church. Yeah, well, and also the word Catholic is not, in as much as we do use it for the Catholic Church and generally use that to talk about the Roman Catholic Church, we do not exactly have an exclusive use of it, and it is, the word Catholic is found in the creeds, after all, and so other particularly Orthodox churches will sometimes use the word Catholic in the more literal sense of universal versus part of the Catholic hierarchy. But yeah, it does get confusing from time to time. You have a Catholic Minecraft server? How often do you make in my Christian/Catholic Minecraft server jokes? A lot, yeah. I don't blame you. We do that here too, because this server is all a bunch of Christian content creators. About half of us are Catholic on here. There's myself, Bree, Hal, Flame. In terms of Catholics, Kevin the Space Penguin is our chief moderator of it. Tantalos is on here. We have a cathedral. Nice. In my others, I do intend to make a church at some point in this server. We just started this, just before Christmas, so I haven't had a ton of time. And building the gym has been a top priority. But in my personal Minecraft server, I have a cathedral. Well, not a cathedral. I have a basilica that we built on stream that I'm quite proud of. Do I do weddings by any chance? Yes. Are you planning one anytime soon? Yeah, this is an invite-only server, I'm afraid. So I can't let others on, but you can check out all our channels and follow us and see all the goings-ons from the multiple angles. You also have a monastery. Nice. But what if I want to respond in text, Tantalus? Also, hi Flame, good to see ya. But yes, I, as part of my priestly duties, do in fact celebrate weddings. I haven't had to do one lately, but you know Ami. It's a small world after all. I mean, if you start hanging out in Catholic streams, you eventually start meeting all of us. Gonna bully Ami. No, well, I leave that decision to you. Am I interested in visiting Canada? I'd love to visit Canada. I haven't been to Canada ever. You want me to fly just to Silver Mass? Would it be easier for you to fly to where I am and attend a mass? No, I think it is lovely that we all start to meet each other. It's also funny because it's a little bit of a smaller circle, so you just keep dropping names until you find the common one, and in this case, it was Ami. A VTuber app for Catholic VTubers. Ooh. I'm not a VTuber, but that's cool. But I mean, that's how I got pretty looped into a lot of the other Catholic streamers was P. Tony found me and invited me to golf, and it just kind of snowballed from there. But fly you over first, then invite you, and then fly you over, and after Mass, I'll fly you over just to make sure to make back safely. Sure? I'm not sure I parsed that correctly, but that makes me think actually of we have a house in Rome, and we serve a church there, and one of the guys got kind of sick while he was over there, and the doctor that was over there flew back with him to make sure he made it there safely, and then just immediately got on another flight. I have impeccable timing in other people's streams sometimes. I meet some guy, Clemente. I have met Clemente. Where did I meet Clemente? I know. Yeah, no, he follows me. He followed Peter first, and then he started following me, but he has a different username right now that was meant as a joke, but he can't change it. He wasn't able to change it back because of Twitch rules, where you have to wait like X amount of days. So I know we'll be going back to Clemente. One of the downsides, and it's not really a true downside. Are we cobbling mods? Hey, Inca. Inca's is also part of this. What was I saying? Yeah, sometimes one of the downsides of having so many friends on Twitch now is I'll open up the app and it's like, oh no, there's too many people live. I cannot say hey to everyone, but I want to be in everyone's chat right now. Your trans close friend. Trying to help him out in his vision of the future. That's awesome. Relatable. And that's when we met Ami. That sounds like the name for a sitcom. First Catholic VTuber sitcom, How We Met Ami. Of course, if you had told me when I started streaming I was going to be friends with so many VTubers and like what different things VTubers are, I would not have believed you. You know, the fact that I'm now friends with 2 bards, a moth, a flame, an inkling. There it is. Dang, I was hoping I'd have enough iron to make an anvil so I could put these 2 together, but an inkling, that's me! It is. I didn't want to call you an elf, even though you do have pointy ears. Nope. That's what I thought. The Catholic VTuber Club is really fun to discover. I can imagine. Who else is on that list? Oh, there's Broseph Lacask, if you know him. He's a space crusader. His armor looks like Metroid. There's Stella, a bunny. There's Ami. I guess Ami's just a human, but pointy ears. Flame, what would you describe Ami as? Like his model. Ami has an arrow through his head. This is true. You should really get that looked at. It cannot be good. Arrowhead's quiver. Yep. Oh, there's Blossom, who used to be an opossum and is now a Huldra. There's... You can still be an adventurer with an arrow to your head as long as it's not to your knee. Hi memes of 2010. How you doing? Oh, wait. I can sleep. Oh, Calmage! How could I forget Calmage? The Catboy in a maid costume. Which is really funny because he's... Zergtron! Speaking of... Welcome on in, Zergtron. Welcome, Raiders. Welcome on in, Raiders. For those who don't know me, I'm Father Evan, Catholic priest, streaming here on Twitch 4 days a week, exploring the intersection of faith and gaming. There is Riff. Right now, I was going through the Catholic list first. But I mean, even more. So many more Christian VTuber friends. But good to see you, Zerg. Good to see you, Zerkoryu. If I pronounced that correctly, I'm sorry if I didn't. Can't wait to have VC with you, Halcyon, a few others. Nice. Oh, do you know NecoSpy? Have you met NecoSpy? He's a game dev. He's a Christian game dev, or a Catholic game dev. He's a cool dude. The dragon dives in. Yeah. Yeah, you should check out NecoSpy's stream. He streams in the morning. He's working on his master's in game design, and his whole thing is, as a Catholic, looking at games and finding through using a lens of finding the good, the true, and the beautiful. Neko is great. Hey, Zerg. Had fun while lasting. Kill it with fire! I hope you succeeded in that, because that sounds like you're fighting a spider. But I hope you're doing well, Zerg. Hope you had a good Christmas, and hope you're having a good New Year's Eve. Late Raider from Zergtron. My phone was wonky. Oh no! Hey, it's all good. Glad to have you here. And then there's CalMage. Speaking of just kind of going down the list of Catholic YouTubers I know, there's CalMage's wife, Neb, who's really fun. Who else do I know that is like specifically Catholic? Before I even start going down the line of Christian friends in my head. Hey, thank you for the lurk. Oh no, you got sick. Oh, I'm sorry. I hope you're feeling better now. You're Catholic? Flame, you attended my mass. Is Brie Catholic? She is. No, Neko Spy. Nekospy. Like Neko for Japanese word for cat. Spy. Like spy versus spy. Her mom's Catholic. Yeah, my mom is Catholic. That's how my family became Catholic. You're feeling better? That's good. That's still, it's rough being sick over the holidays. Hello, very aggressive snow cone. Streamed exactly twice in the time that Father Evan has known me. I'm not sure I count as a streamer. No, but you are an awesome mod, and we're happy to have you here. I met Brayherd in person before. Speaking of Bree, I met Brayherd in person before Brayherd even knew about my streams. Hey, you found Neko? Nice. Yeah, give him a follow. He'd probably be hyped to meet fellow Catholic game devs. You found 2 sticks of DDR3 RAM. Clean your basement. $1,000. Here I come. I don't know. It's DDR3. Probably $950. People who keep thinking I'm Catholic because so many of my friends are. One of us. One of us. I don't think Neko has a Discord yet, but I could be wrong about that. Gotta get a list. Trying to find more content creators who are solid Catholics and other Christians. Hey, just hang around these circles and just basically every other person you see in chat, just follow them. You're gonna find lots more. Because like Ink is an awesome Catholic content creator. She does a lot of singing. K-Max is a Catholic streamer. Does a lot of classic JRPGs. You know, I can't tell if you're memeing K-Max or being serious, because I'm sorry if I said that. I'm not trying to misrepresent. She's an awesome Christian streamer. Long-form Catholic videos on YouTube. Nice. I probably did misspeak. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Okay, look at that. We got the basic floor done of the gym. That is a good start. That is not a good start. That happens from time to time on this server. I noticed everyone got kicked from it, actually. Tantalus, what did you do? this a Poke Gym? It is. I am the Ice and Bug type gym leader. I guess swords on your connection. You exiled my connection. And all I get is a basic land? Flame Prince, I'm hacking the mainframe. Wait, I placed blocks here. Okay. How much time do we have? About 15 minutes. Let's work on clearing this out. Ow. My ankles. Oh, I was one off. Zerg has redeemed a father joke. Yeah, it's fitting because we were just talking about the internet and everything. You know how, there's this little known fact, but, plants love to go on the internet. You know, especially trees. And do you know how trees get onto the internet? They log on. Glad you like Zerg. Stick to your day job. This is my day job. See, you get it. It's not a dad joke. It's a father joke. Patrick Warburton is Catholic. Hey, I didn't know that. That's neat. He's a really fun voice actor. If you were to invite the Pope to a wedding, what are the chances he will come? Well, if you're going to invite the Pope to a wedding that's not held at the Vatican or in X country during a papal visit, I'm going to say a solid 0. Yeah, Flem, you're asking a lot of wedding questions lately. Is there something? Is there news you'd like to share? Now, that said, popes have presided at random weddings, typically at the Vatican. So it's not unheard of if that were to happen. Ryan, train viewer, Billionaire's birthday party. No one showed up. Oh. Well, I didn't get an invite. That's my excuse. Mayhaps. Oh, well. I will say one of the critical steps to inviting a priest to the wedding, particularly if you want them to celebrate the Mass and be the official church witness for the vows, because reminder, the celebrants of the sacrament of marriage are the couple getting married. Dates are incredibly helpful. Oh, his friends. Oh, well, that's fine. I just had an image of him at his birthday party, just all sad and alone. Oh, I know what I want to do. Let's go grab the Poké statues. Got a comedy special on the Angel app. Wow. Oh, what's getting heard up here? Well, it was something. Okay. Where did I put those? I know I made them in, like... There they are. And while we're here, let's also make some shovels, because I'm out. Yeah, I didn't know he did stand up either. I think that might be the more shocking part of that sentence, actually. Hey, you take care, JM. Hope you have a happy and blessed new year. Enjoy the rest of this year. There's still some of it left. Statue, 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 statue. Yeah. Oh, please go get some lunch. Yeah, let me know, Zertron. Love to. Yeah, I was saying I meant to say this when Zertron was raiding. Zertron is also a Catholic VTuber. He is a kaiju dragon. He's a really cool dude. Oh, you're an ice dragon. I did not know that part. I did not know that specific portion of your lore. That is good to know. Yeah, hit me up in Discord. Ultraman. There is a Beer Fox and I have a mutual friend. I met her at Doxicon. He was friends with her before, but she has given talks 2 years in a row now on Ultraman and Super Sentai Rangers, and they're awesome talks. She does a really good job at looking at the themes in them. She's a teacher, right? Yeah. Yeah, Sarah. Yeah, there should be videos of the Doxicon talks. Last year there's only videos of the keynotes, but there should be audio recordings. If you go to doxicon.com or .org, there is the Doxicast remix, which is like the various presenters at Doxicon talking about things throughout the year. I just recorded one with a guy named Jose. Well, his name's Joseph, but he goes by Jose. And he's been a big help of Doxicon for years. And his wife, his name's escaping me. Ooh. Anyway, we talked about Myst for like 2 hours. It was awesome. Hey, Brayhurt's got some links there. Ancient Faith podcast. You got the Doxicon recordings, so you can listen to my talk from last year. I don't think my keynote from this year is up yet. I could be wrong about that. Maggie, thank you. Ah. Thank you. Apparently today's stream has been all about the Catholic and Christian content creator circles I walk in and advertising them, which is awesome. I'm gonna go back to reaching 2026. I don't know. I would like to, but the whole you have to buy tickets now thing is tough for me because it's like I don't know what my life like. Sometimes planning that far in advance is tricky. So that's gonna be we'll have to wait and see. My ears started burning up pretty told me you were talking about me. Yeah, some other Catholic game devs, and we're like, oh, and was just talking about kind of all the different Catholic content creators that we know around here, and was like, oh yeah, you should meet Neko. Also, good to see you, Neko. Hope you're doing well. Oh, it'd be awesome to meet you, Inca. Well, I don't think that those are the only two categories that someone can fall into. I am a priest who serves God. I celebrate the normal Roman rite. Like, well, normal as in not extraordinary. Normal as in normative. You like both forms? Babe, that's great. Only 10 in 1962 when you're serving because the prisoners tend to be toxic. Ooh, that's unfortunate. And unfortunately, that's not something that's unique to any particular reality. Any toxic, local or internet, from anything local to international, can be toxic, and that is an unfortunate reality because sin exists. What is NO in TLM? No, NO is Novus Ordo, meaning new order. It's the Mass as celebrated after the Second Vatican Council. The TLM is the traditional stands for traditional Latin Mass, and is sort of the preservation and continuing practice of the Latin Mass, based on the Tridentine Missal, the missal that came out from the Council of Trent. But yeah, it's done in the 1962s, which is an important distinction to make because it's not the exact missal that came out from the Council of Trent, as it was updated several times between the 16th century and the 20th century. So, That's right. I forgot about the Croatian thing. Real try to still commemorate the king and the can. Well, if you don't have a king. Yeah, I'm of the opinion that's like, I grew up Novus Ordo, I learned Novus Ordo, I want to celebrate Novus Ordo. You always have the king. Well, there is always the king of kings, but in the canon, typically the commemoration of the king is the living ruler of the land. Against Cistercian Carmelite. Well, technically, wouldn't the Dominican Cistercian Carmelite be the Dominican Rite, the Cistercian Rite, and the Carmelite Rite, which are all modifications of the Roman Rite, and do use the Roman canon as their Eucharistic anaphora. But is there a reason why some folks prefer TLM? I think there's lots of reasons. I think for some folks, the ornateness, and I don't mean to say that in any way pejoratively, but just as a matter of fact, helps draw them into the sense of mystery that the Mass is trying to communicate. As Triton says, feels more closely to the model from the Bible. Others, it can be the historical connection to it. So I think there's lots of reasons. I think there's a lot of valid reasons. You know, I do love going to Divine Liturgy of John Chrysostom, even though I'm not Eastern Rite, but it is a profound experience of the transcendental in prayer, and I think that's a wonderful and beautiful thing, and I don't think it's unique to the Divine Liturgy, nor do I think it's absent in the Novus Ordo. It's just there are different ways of expressing, because we are using our limited human language to try and talk about the infinite. The use of serum was abrogated only de facto and not de jure, since it was more than 200 years at Trent. It's only spread by the Anglican Church. Yeah, the serum rite's a complicated one, and one I do not know enough about. Oh, you live in Scotland. Oh, nice. I should like to visit Scotland at some point. And I think the serum rite has, like, based on what I have studied, has some really cool, unique historical details that aren't typically found in other rites. But yeah, so one of the things that the Council of Trent wanted to do was bring a more unified sense of liturgical worship within the Western world. And as part of that, said basically if a rite has not existed at least 200 years at this point, it goes away. Your family has been here for 1,000 years, been Catholic for 1,600 years. Hey, that's awesome. So what, did your family go to Scotland from the Netherlands then, was it? Oh, from Brittany. Okay. Because I know some folks wound up settling in Scotland from kind of the Flemish, Netherlands-ish region. Yeah, there's no full missal of Saren, but yeah. No, and I think we have to pay attention to the history of liturgy for sure and understand its growth and development and and understand where developments came from. Descendant of the old royal family of Scotland. Hey, that's cool. So, King David? Was that his name? You know, and I think, and that was one of the things that I really loved about my seminary education is we did study the difference of Eucharistic practices across the centuries to understand where we are now and understand, you know, sort of the underpinnings of Mass as we celebrate today and know what it is. And oh, Stuart! Oh, that's awesome. You are related to every royal house in Europe. You also have a very nice tartan. I quite like the Cummings tartans. I have a kilt in that, and then yeah, also a few saints because definitely Saint Margaret, I'm guessing. A lot of changes with the current missal arguably could have been done at Trent if they had access to scholarship we have in the 1900s. Yeah, and I think that's an important thing to know. You know, sometimes people are like, oh, the Novus Ordo came out of nowhere. It's like, no, actually, it came out of a lot of deeply studied theology and history and context that, you know, we have. And we had a greater... It is the ressourcement that was talked about. Also, apparently no one else is sleeping, so... Half the active server has to sleep in order to let the night pass. But that is pretty epic to have 3 ancestors buried under St. Peter's. I hope you've gotten a chance to visit them. But yeah, you know, like, the liturgical movement of the early 20th century was an important factor that led into the Second Vatican Council. To refresh myself on some of that stuff. I actually found a really cool book in a library once at a seminary. So of course I couldn't take it. Like I could borrow it, but I couldn't, you know, have it. But it was a book kind of about liturgical growth and development in the early 20th century. And it particularly highlighted this like Eucharistic Congress that got permission from the Vatican to do certain experimental things with its liturgy. Like it was, I forget exactly some of the details, but it was really fascinating to see this. There were elements in there where you're like, oh, I could see how this fed into what we know now as the Novus Ordo, but was still pre-conciliar. So. Original Bible from Iona. Nice. So, yeah, I am a fan of the Novus Ordo, but, you know, I'm not inherently anti-Tridentine either. Like, I think... I do think it's kind of a complicated thing. It's sort of the lived praxis, and we have to figure that out. But, Yeah, well, that's Christian life for you. If everything was simple and laid out. There's too many snowballs. Yeah, go for it. Look how tiny this deer is. If your bishop commits a heresy, what do you do? Ah, that's... I think that's a tricky one. And I think the question... There's a couple of key questions that is determining who gets to determine if a heresy has been committed. And not saying that an individual isn't capable of that, but, you know, just recognizing our own humility. Ultimately, I would say write to your bishop's conference if there's something that you are concerned about. There's indifferentism and he was corrected and refused to accept it. Well, the good news is that he is an individual. And that the faith can and will persist. Now, I can understand why that is frustrating. And far from ideal. But yeah, I would say continue to write to the conference. Wait until he's 75. Well, I guess it depends on what you mean by... I mean, while as Catholics and Protestants we do not have identical theologies by any means, we do have a lot of overlap. And there can be a value in studying together. I mean... So I do not know the full details of what is going on there. So I'm going to refrain from making a complete judgment. I want OCIA to be joint. Well, no, we do not recognize the validity of the clergy of the Presbyterians, but that doesn't mean that we cannot study theology. And again, I don't know the full details and depth to which this joint effort is to take place in his mind. It does sound like he has made some questionable decisions based on what you have shared with me, but I don't know who he is, and I have not done proper and full adequate research. So there are limits to what I can say, if that makes sense. And I'm just a priest. Show it to your theologian friends they sound drunk. That is rough, and I'll take your word for it on that. But again, like I'm trying to exercise a form of charity, I guess, where like I don't want to pass judgment on something I don't know the fullness of. You know, and I will say, at the end of the day, if you do have a continued concern, which sounds like you do, and a valid one, best thing to do is to write the conference, the Scottish Conference of Bishops. Want more opinions before contesting the DDF? That's fair. Guess I need more iron, so we need to go do some mining. Am I anemic? Yeah, I always need more iron. See, I should have diamond. I'll carry this diamond pickaxe with me just in case. Oh, zombies, that's okay. I have to be really careful with my mining, by the way, because, okay, you can't see it here, but there's a bunch of ancient city around me. Oh, that's a creeper. Oh dear. I think the server just got stuck. Stop exploding on me. No, I said stop. No! Jerks. That was 46 levels I just lost. Thank goodness Kevin has this death mod. So when you die, you can just get your stuff back. What do I do for free time? Oh, what's that? No, I'm kidding. What do I do for my free time? I do actually play more video games. Streaming is a ministry, so it's not really free time. Oh, look, an axolotl. But I do play video games off of stream as well. I occasionally read. I'm not a huge reader, but read a few things here and there. I paint miniatures because I play Warhammer. Is that axolotl a whooper or a mudkip? Neither. I think it's just an ordinary axolotl. I enjoy exploring the city. A candy spin. Unfortunately, I cannot do that candy spin right now, so I'll have to refund you that. Because I have mass, and so I need to be... I have mass at 5. So I need to be fasting. What clan in Warhammer? I play Skaven, and then in 40,000... I play Imperial Guard, Orc. I have a smattering of Grey Knights and what's the other? Tau. I think that's everything. Refunded. Hey, thank you, Gail. Yeah, normally I'd be fine with that. The unpainted models are lore accurate. Hey, Weevil. Hey, Trekkie. But yes, I have the Vigil Mass tonight. For the Solemnity of Mary, Mother of God. Which there's an option in the Missal for a votive mass for the start of a new year. And it very explicitly says that you cannot do it on the Solemnity of Mary, Mother of God, which totally makes sense. It's the Solemnity of Mary, Mother of God. 10 out of 10. That is the focus for the day. We're keeping it. But it does always make me wonder, when am I supposed to use this then? Plans for New Year's Eve. A parishioner has invited me over to their apartment for a party. Use it for Lunar New Year. Ooh, I hadn't thought of that. See, this is why you consult other clergy. But no, I find that funny. That it's like, here's an option. You're not allowed to use it. I don't know why. That always gets a chuckle out of me. Dunsparce. Look how big this Dunsparce is. Yeah, if you offhand, the torch does still illuminate. I'm just... I'm too lazy. And also, I'm such an old school Minecraft player that I forget the offhand is a thing. Oh. Music disc. Rope. Rope. Lamp oil. Bombs. My cabbage seeds. And what age group would you recommend Minecraft for? 5 plus? I don't know. I think there are different ways to enjoy Minecraft that basically any age can enjoy. I don't know. Do they know how to use a tablet? Probably, because they're Gen Alpha/Beta. I think they're just born with that knowledge. Infused knowledge. I wish I had infused knowledge of how to drive a stick shift. Maybe it's the microplastics. You know, you're just born with enough microplastics that you just know how to use computers. I need to organize my system. Actually, that implies I have a system. I need to just organize into having a system. For your nose, it was too much TV. Now it's too much microplastics. While you were consuming microplastics, I was consuming macroplastics. I think people in the server would hire a professional organizer. I would not, but I'm very particular about how I organize my stuff. The candy with the wrapper still on it. Eat the Tough Gummy Pro, complete with the package. What? Sneasel. Nope. Get in the Pokeball. I said, get in the Pokeball. It isn't a Alolan Geodude. I actually already have one, so that's why I'm not bothering with it. You know what? Fine. I have a giant Rhyhorn. Or Rhydon, sorry. Yeah, when I saw the Alolan Geodude for the first time, I thought it might be Ice type and was like, oh, that's cool. Nope. Also, the Alolan Geodude I caught, it's ground and electric, because that's just what a Alolan Geodude is. And it Terra types into Dragon. Sneasel. Is that psychic? Is that what that is? I guess that's psychic. Where's that Alolan Geodude at? Did I really? Oh no, it's in the field. Yeah. So it's Rock Electric with Dragon Terra type. Poison. That's what that symbol is. Okay. I'm still learning the symbols because like I'm bug ice, so it's like really easy to figure out what those symbols are. Anyway, these are the gym teams that I have. So for Bug, I have a Wimpod, a Pineco who's shiny. Thank you, Tantalus. Combi, Durant, Joltik, and Heracross. So I have Fighting, Electric, Steel, Flying, and Water on my team. And then for Ice, I have Glaceon, Delibird, Snover, Swinub, Champagne, who's Spheal, who will not be evolving, and Avalugg. So I have 2 regular Ice, but then I have Water, Earth, or Ground, or whatever, Grass, and Flying, kind of in addition. Yeah, and the Combi is a female, so it will be evolving into a Vespiquen. Things like to get stuck in the berry bushes. Nope, something just broke. I'm out of armor. Diamond Pearl came out. My sister and I were playing. My first thought seeing the team of Snover's evolution made me joke about Rockabouts. I should show you this Avalugg, by the way. It is an absolute unit. Look at the size of this thing. Hey, Shadow Vision. Aside from Christmas, tomorrow's our second and only day of obligation here in Canada. Wow. That's all? You have 2 days of holy obligation in Canada? In America, we have Christmas, of course, Mary Mother of God. Are they canonically that size? Not necessarily, because he's big. He's already, like, yes, they are big, but this one's big by their standards. That big in the Legends Arceus? Well, okay. In this, they're not, a normal one's not that big. Like, it doesn't even house. Assumption, Ascension, depending on what diocese you're in, Immaculate Conception. I think those are all the main holy days. Am I missing one, Trekkie? I feel like I'm missing one. I always forget how easy Canada has it. Immaculate Conception. I thought I said that, but if I didn't, I apologize. Yep. December. Ow. Bad skeleton. Yeah, when I was discerning with Paulists, I came out and I visited New York. And I was here in New York for Assumption. Or no. For Ascension. Sorry, for Ascension, because it's still celebrated on a Thursday in New York, and it's still a holy day of obligation. And then I flew back to Utah, where it was celebrated on the Sunday. It was just kind of a weird experience flight. I feel like I've already attended this mass. But that is where we're going to call it for the day. Hey, you complete your Bible in the year. Let's go. Let's go. That's awesome, Squirrel. King Priest from Columbia is like 18 days obligation. Yeah, there are some countries that have even more. So that is awesome, Squirrel. Congrats. I've read the whole Bible in a year. And just in time, too. So now you can start it all over again tomorrow. I kid. Anyway, yep. My brain just went out the window there for a moment. Time for Catechism in a year. Yeah. What do you do after Catechism in a year? Plan on doing it again next year? Hey, that's great. I think that's the thing, is that, like, the Bible is never something we read once and go, okay, I got it figured out. I never have to read it again. It's like, no. Oh. Guess what you gotta read again. Been sending her Hallow links. Stop sending her after day 1 tomorrow. I don't know about every day, but, like, it might be helpful to remind me, like, it's not too late to do Bible in a year. But yeah, what's after Catechism? Canon Law in a year? That one might be a bit drier. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in to Let Us Play. I've been your host, Father Evan. It's been good to be with y'all today, and I hope you did most of Canon Law in 2024. That's impressive. Honestly, most of Canon Law is still a lot of Canon Law to get through. But anyway, I've been your host, Father Evan. It's been good to be with y'all today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, great rest of your year, and a blessed new year tomorrow. Yeah, so tomorrow I plan on streaming. I don't have a reason not to, so it would be Throwback Thursday. I think we're doing Banjo-Kazooie. Yeah, I think that's the plan. And then you may have seen on the game screen, this Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, we will be doing the Medium Return Quizlet of Things and Stuff 3. This will be between the competitors are P. Tony, TC, Mel, Halcyon Ward, Yenza, and one more person that I still need to figure out. But we'll get there. But yeah, so good to have you all today, and I hope you Merquats. Exactly. We love a good Merquats. But anyway, I hope you have a great rest of your day. And thank you again for another wonderful year of streaming. And I look forward to seeing you in the new year and with, as we continue forward in our explorations together. So, again, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care. God bless. And let's see who's live that we can raid into. You are going to miss it, Inca, and you were even invited to be a competitor. People, Brenna, Yuha, and others. Well, I know not to ask them then. Anyway, we're going to go on over to Mother Goose because I don't get a chance to raid Mother Goose very often. So raid call is Father Raid or Happy New Year's Eve. Go give Mother Goose some love. She's an awesome, wonderful person. Shorter than I expected, honestly. I met her at Reach, and I always had envisioned from seeing her on camera, like, yeah, she's probably a pretty tall woman. No, she's pretty short. But anyway, go give Mother Goose some love. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care. God bless.